Ever feel like modern gaming stories are playing it too safe? Neutered, sanitized, and terrified of letting you cut loose? Well, welcome to the game that will allow you to play out the fantasy of being typical, or not so typical, evil guy in a fantasy setting. Overlord 2 is an amazing experience getting you in the feet of John Evil, a guy so committed to villainy that his cursed headgear guarantees no one ever sees his face. Probably because his glare alone could set towns on fire, or because he's too ugly to pull any girls. This is the secret that is not getting answered in this game. Welcome, my fellow evil masterminds. This is Neurotalk Gaming speaking, and today we're diving deep into the world of Overlord 2. So grab your evil scepter, practice your maniacal laugh, and get ready to ruin the day for everyone else. Because in Overlord 2, evil always finds a way. Before we dive into it, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who has supported this channel, with either kind word, subscription, or anything else. There are already 400 of us, and I'm truly happy to have all of you here. In case you're new to this channel, welcome, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing so that I can bring more great content to you all. Now, let's get to the good stuff. For a game from 2009, Overlord 2 still holds up visually. It might not have been a AAA graphical powerhouse even in 2009, but it oozes style, dark, twisted, and dripping with personality. The environments range from frosty tundras to lush green forests with a side of fiery fortresses and ominous ruins. Almost like walking through the travel brochure of Evil Layers Are Us. The real stars, though, are your minions. Their animations are pure gold. Whether they're smashing objects, dancing with loot, or running around in tiny outfits that they stole from defeated enemies. Honestly, minions in armor are kind of the fashion statement I didn't know I needed, but now I want the whole collection. The game's humor bleeds into its visuals too. Villages looks just idyllic enough for you to enjoy ruining them, and the Empire's shiny Roman-inspired designs make their inevitable destruction even more satisfying. Snowy levels even include baby seals, and yes, you can do unspeakable crimes with them, because nothing screams villainy like terrorizing nature's most adorable creatures. Although be ready for a letter from PETA afterwards. The secret sauce of Overlord 2 visual charm is stylized art direction. Even here in 2024, the game holds up surprisingly well. Sure, it's not winning any best graphics awards, but its caricatured, cartoony, and sometimes grotesque character design still manage to be both charming and memorable. The environments follow suit with the exaggerated fantasy vibe, from snowy towns with an almost storybook Christmas charm, to a gloomy flying fortresses that scream evil headquarters. Speaking of Christmas, the first level might as well be holiday-themed evil adventure you never knew you needed. Between the snow-covered houses, twinkling lights, and the inevitable chaos you bring to the festivities, is the perfect mix of festive and destructive. Honestly, it manages to nail a Christmas atmosphere better than many modern games do today. The art style is what keeps Overlord 2 from aging poorly. It leans so heavily into its unique aesthetic that the slightly older textures and simple geometry feel like more creative choice than a technical limitation. It's like a good animated movie, it doesn't need to be realistic to look fantastic. Now let's talk about gameplay. If there's one thing Overlord 2 absolutely nails, is its chaotic joy of commanding your very own army of gremlins, minions. These little guys are the backbone of your villainous escapades, and honestly, they're half the reason you'll be grinning maniacally the entire game. The game revolves around unleashing these loyal and hilariously destructive minions to wreak havoc, solve puzzles, and occasionally entertain you with the sheer stupidity. At any rate, the gameplay itself is a blast, featuring 4 types of minions.
Choose your fighter!
The brutes, whose strengths include bashing, hitting, punching, and kicking. Fire-throwing pyromaniacs who might have been dragons in a past life. These sneaky little backstabbers are like if Ninja and a Sting Bomb had a baby. The healers, who probably spent most of their time regretting their part of the crew. Each type fulfills its own role on the battlefield, with browns being tanky frontliners, reds being ranged support, green being roguish opportunists that can do huge damage if they can attack enemy from the back, and blues your typical backstage support guys. As the Overlord, you're not just the puppet master, you're an active participant in the carnage. You can swing your weapon, cast devastating spells, and most importantly, laugh evilly while your minions do the dirty work. You're leading this chaotic orchestra, and it feels good. The game also lets you harness your minions for more than just combat tasks. Need a gate lifted? Send a horde of browns. Want to carry something to the tower? Sure, just toss enough minions at it and it's yours. Except for casting some spells and swinging that axe, your Overlord is above doing any menial task, and for the good reason. Since too many games treat us players as some delivery guys instead of heroes, or in this case evil overlords that we are. While the minions are a delight, they aren't always the sharpest tools in the shed. The controls for guiding them can feel a bit clunky at times, especially when trying to position them precisely in battle. From one point of view, it's part of the charm, like managing a chaotic kindergarten where everyone's armed and slightly unhinged. From other, it doesn't feel very great where due to poor control scheme you cannot get your minions out of the dangerous situations and they die. And each of them have their own personal name and personality, at least to some degree, depending on what they wear for example, that you don't want them to die too often. And of course, as was the fashion in the older games, Overlord 2 includes an obligatory stealth section, because nothing says varied gameplay like sneaking around like nervous intern on their first day. It's a confusing and frustrating departure from the game's otherwise chaotic freewheeling charm, one that will likely test your patience more than once. One of the game's highlights is the sheer variety of chaos you can cause. Villages can be pillaged, buildings destroyed, and people enslaved, or you can be extra evil and just burn everything to the ground. And let's not forget those very serious tasks like toppling snowmen or chasing baby seals for reasons and life force. The freedom to approach the situations in multiple ways keep things fresh. Do you want to enslave the townsfolk for long-term domination, or just kill them all for short-term satisfaction and some life force? The choice is yours, because who says villainy can't be personalized? Starting from a petty feud with local bullies in your village, and growing into all-out war with the glorious empire, Overlord 2 is a masterclass in hyperbole, parody, and the pure unfiltered joy of being evil. Unlike other games that try to guilt-trip you with the harsh realities of destruction, this one says, nah, just enjoy it. The game ensures your victims are so unsympathetic that you'll probably laugh as their homes burn. And if you don't, the minions will do it for you anyway. Your primary adversary is the hilariously over-the-top glorious empire, a group of Roman-inspired do-gooders, at least that's what they say, whose mission is to rid the world of magic, minions, and naturally, you. They're kind of enemy that practically begs to be stomped into the dirt. Shiny, self-righteous, and knee-deep in propaganda about their own greatness. Of course, their hypocrisy knows no bounds, as they conveniently dabble in magic themselves when it suits their imperial goals. The game gleefully pits you against these stooges in a campaign to reclaim the world, or, more accurately, to conquer it. Whether you're razing towns or dismantling their infrastructure, every encounter is bursting with parody and theatrical chaos. As I mentioned before, the game doesn't just let you be evil, it lets you customize your evil. Do you enslave the people for a more economically sound approach to tyranny, or do you straight up annihilate them because sometimes you're just in the mood to watch the world burn? The game doesn't judge, it's your playground of chaos. And as a reward for your commitment to either path, you'll unlock one of the several endings depending on your choices. One of the most delightful aspects of Overlord 2 is how it gleefully pokes fun at traditional fantasy tropes. The game doesn't just mock the idea of heroes, it drags it through the mud while cackling like a maniac. The elves, your stereotypical nature-loving hippie types with voices so pretentious, you'll want to chop down a tree just to spite them. The gnomes, brutal little warmongers who fight like toddlers with butter knives, ferocious in spirit but hilariously useless in battle.
It's a sonorous war cry of a very angry frog. Ferocious.
And the imperial citizens? They're the textbook exploitative society where the rich feast on the poor, making it even more satisfying to stomp their opulent parties into the ground. The humor ranges from clever satire to outright absurdity, and the minions provide a steady stream of snarky quips and slapstick antics that will keep you laughing through the destruction. The game's story is serviceable writing-wise, and even features an unexpected twist at the end of the game, although not like it ever mattered. After all, evil Overlord can be betrayed, since he did not trust anyone except for his minions to begin with. And let's not forget about romance. Unlike most games where you agonize over which love interest to pick, Overlord 2 skips the soap opera entirely and lets you marry up to 3 wives. Yes, 3. Why would you choose when you can just be an Overlord and have everything? Truly, this game that understands your dark tyrannical heart. Considering it's over a decade old, Overlord 2 runs well on modern systems. The game doesn't demand a high-end rig, making it accessible even for players with modest setups. Load times are reasonable, the frame rate is stable and the crashes are rare. which is already more than I can say for many AAA games fresh off the assembly line today. The minion mechanics, while central to the game's charm, can occasionally feel clunky. Guiding your chaotic little army is like herding cats. Cats that are on fire, wielding weapons, and have absolutely no intention of following directions. The sweeping mechanic, where you manually guide your minions in formation, is a bit of love-hate experience. It works well enough most of the time, but can lead you to "why won't you go there, you tiny little gremlin" moments. Character movement for the Overlord himself is fine, but there's no escaping the fact that it's built on slightly dated control scheme. The combat feels functional, if not particularly deep. You're mostly there to swing your weapon, cast spells, and let the minions do the heavy lifting. The real villain of the game is the camera. It occasionally has minds of its own, and it's not always working in your favor. It gets stuck behind objects, refuses to give you a good angle in tight spaces, and generally acts like it's auditioning for the role of most frustrating NPC. It's not unbearable, but it does make you wonder if the devs slip in a little extra challenge just to keep you on your toes. No game this old is without its quirks, and Overlord 2 has its fair share. You might encounter an occasional stuck minion, weird physics, and other bugs that were still not ironed out. However, nothing is game-breaking, and you can easily go through the game with zero issues. In the end, despite some quirks, partly due to rushed development process and partly from the passage of time, Overlord 2 still holds up remarkably well. It offers a truly unique blend of gameplay, story, atmosphere, and aesthetics that you just don't see in games anymore. To be fair, they don't make games like this nowadays at all. In a gaming world that often takes itself far too seriously nowadays, Overlord 2 is a refreshing reminder that not every story needs to be deep, and not every hero needs to save the day. Sometimes it's enough to burn down a village, enslave the townsfolk, and laugh maniacally while doing it. Thank all of you for tuning in today. This is Neurotalk Gaming signing off. Let me know in the comments if Overlord 2 piqued your interest, and if you're planning to play it after seeing this video. I'm always up to chatting about games with you guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon in the next one.
Sire has mastered forging. He's now prepared for battle. He'll inspire fear and loathing, and cause teeth and bones to rattle. Tower Hard Salvager.